This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.
Here we go, the second drop in the shortest month. It's issue number 7 of the Shorter Than Short Mike DJ Kelly podcast show, which includes news and stories that others leave well alone. Tim Horton, celebrity trumps, sausages, Judith and radio rentals, and a whole lot more. So it's a little bit bigger, but a whole lot better. I hope that line is not copyrighted. If you want to get in touch about anything to do with the podcast show, please use either of the following to contact us. Email hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
So where shall we start? Party lines? County lines? No. Go on. Then let's start with celebrity trumps. I enjoyed it so much last time, let's do it again. It's you against me. You've got 10 minutes to name the celebrity and what you did or how you met them to see if yours trumps mine. And I doubt it will.
New for 2019.
Since the last body, I've ordered a couple of books on eBay. The first one to arrive was Martin Kellner's Sit Down and Cheer, published by Wilston, which tells the history of sport from the amusing TV eyes of Mr. Kellner. However, what worries me about the book I bought on eBay is on the second page, it has a St. Helens library stamp of ownership upon it.
Golly gosh.
Judith was very impressive on the chase last week and sent the show's fans into a frenzy after she scooped a record-breaking £70,000, the most ever won by a solo contestant. The quizzer decided to opt for the higher amount after the rest of the team was eliminated by the vixen Jenny Ryan and won the final round with ease thanks to 20 correct answers. While many rushed to praise Judith's show-stopping performance, others demanded she should land a job on the show as the sixth chaser, as even host Bradley Walsh lauded her extraordinary performance. I suppose we should be saying also well done to Harrogate. Harrogate is about to take a UK lead in green transport by becoming Britain's first ever low-emission bus town. Work is now underway to install revolutionary next-generation wireless charging points at Harrogate bus station in preparation for the arrival of 8 new electric-powered buses in the spring. The new buses are expected to enter service later this year on routes between the town centre and Bilton, Jennyfields and Panel Ash, supported by more than £2 million of government funding. MP Andrew Jones said Harrogate is to become the country's first low-emission bus town, and that's very positive news for local people and a positive game-changer for public transport and the environment. Cutting carbon emissions and improving air quality are transport priorities for the government, and most important of all, they're a key priority for people living and working in Harrogate, who wants the environment improved and the air we breathe cleaned up.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly Podcast.
So this week's teaser question: which 1977 number 3 hit contained the line, "Giddy up and get away, we're going crazy and we're going today"? The line again, "Giddy up and get away, we're going crazy and we're going today."
Is that true?
I do think there should be some rules about what colours MPs dress in. Personally, I find it objectionable for Conservative MPs to be wearing red dresses and red ties. You never see John McDonnell in a blue tie. And talking of rules, why not one TV show per presenter? The likes of Philip Schofield, Eamon Holmes and Bradley Walsh are starting to get a bit greedy when it comes to the number of shows they do. Why not different presenters for all shows to make them more varied?
New for 2019.
Now here's the question. Do we think David Attenborough will move from the BBC to Netflix? I think we'll have to wait and see. Still to come, Victorian illnesses, Spygate and radio rentals. If you want to get in touch with this top-rated, much-listened-to podcast, please contact by email hello@mikedjkelly.co.uk or on Twitter @MikeKellyDisco. Indeed, if you want some podcast making for your business or need any help with radio producer or presentation work, please get in touch. Every now and again we mention something charitable. This time we'll mention The Big Issue, which you can buy from street sellers for at least £2.50 a copy. If you go to their website at bigissue.com, the main story is which charities are fighting homelessness in the UK. Across the UK, there are a large number of charities working at local and national levels to fight homelessness. These charities provide help and advice for people who are rough sleeping, in temporary accommodation, insecure or unsuitable accommodation, or at risk of being homeless. Just as each person who becomes homeless will have different needs, so each charity within the homeless sector offers specific and specialist services. Support offered by these charities include help and advice for people facing homelessness, access to emergency or temporary accommodation, housing and legal advice, assistance, getting into education, employment or training, help setting up bank accounts and accessing benefits and support, a safe space, help with drug and alcohol dependency, advocacy, and fighting for political solutions to rising levels of homelessness. The big national charities in the UK include Crisis, Centrepoint, DePaul UK, St Mungo's, MS UK, Homeless Link, Street Link, and the Big Issue Foundation. If you can afford to give, please do.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
So it's time for Guess the Celebrity with a birthday around about now. With the middle name Mary, she was born on the 22nd of February 1950. Her childhood home was at Smethwick in Staffordshire. After being a nurse, she studied English and drama at Manchester Polytechnic. Some of her early works were with Victoria Wood, and her first big break came with Educating Rita. Who is she?
Golly gosh.
Our campaign to get Ruby Wax back on mainstream TV continues, and here's news on her latest tour. Ruby's tour is based on her latest best-selling book, the new show, How to Be Human. The show answers every question you've ever had about evolution, thoughts, emotion, the body, addictions, relationships, sex, kids, the future, and compassion. Outrageously witty and smart, blending brilliant comedy and insightful life lessons, How to Be Human is the show you need to help you upgrade your mind as much as you've upgraded your iPhone. 50 dates at 47 venues across the UK between April and the end of November. You can get tickets at rubywax.net.
New for 2019.
As a teenager, I bought a bit of kit that when you placed it next to an FM radio, it allowed you to listen to the conversations between pilots and air control. It also made the TV go wonky and white lines cover the screen when it was being used. Despite being in a church choir, I've not always been as good as I should have been. We did occasionally go with the radio and kit in a haversack and stand near radio rentals in County Arcade. The shop window was full of TV screens, and on race days, big crowds would stand outside to watch the race winners. That is until we turned on our kit and all the punters were banging on the shop window and shouting as the staff tried to fix the TVs.
Is that true?
Have you heard about Tim Horton's coffee shops? Well, me neither. Until recently. 1964, Tim Horton, a National Hockey League legend, opened the first store in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1967, Tim Horton and Ron Joyce, the first franchisee, became full partners. 1974, Tim Horton passes away and Ron Joyce establishes the Tim Horton Children's Foundation, THCF, to honour Tim's love of children and desire to help the less fortunate. 1981, muffins and cookies. Our bakers get busy and create something new to dunk in your coffee. 2000, the millennium year sees another milestone as the 2000th restaurant opens in downtown Toronto. 2017, after more than 50 years of serving and bringing smiles to guests in the Great White North, the iconic Canadian Tim Hortons is making its way to the United Kingdom. Brits can now enjoy Tim Hortons premium coffee, freshly baked goods, delicious sandwiches and wraps and other foods. It has a quirky lineup at breakfast. They have bacon or sausage muffins, wraps and porridge and donuts. At lunch it's melts, and for drinks it's coffee, tea, frozen hot chocolate, frozen lemonade, smoothies and coolers. Unfortunately, the nearest ones to me are in Manchester and there are none in London so far. It looks like Leeds United could be in trouble with the authorities over Spygate, which I find a bit strange because I'm sure all clubs spied on each other when I was younger. 29th of March news, and DEFRA, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, are offering loads of well-paid Brexit jobs. Just search DEFRA on the Indeed job site.
This is the Shorter Than Short Mike Kelly podcast.
What's with the sharp rise in hospital visits for diseases that were common during the Victorian era, such as scarlet fever, whooping cough and gout? Despite certain illnesses virtually being eradicated in the 1950s, hospital attendances for some Victorian diseases have now risen by 52% since 2010 and 11, an increase of over 3,000 admissions a year. So, what was your celebrity trump? I suspect I'm going to trump you this week. I met my celebrity in the late 1970s at the Seen and Heard record shop near the market when they were there to promote their latest single. After appearances on That's Life with Esther Ranson and now making public appearances, I was face to face with Prince, the Wonder Dog, and owner Paul Allen. He was there to promote his new single on Columbia Records, Sausages. Prince, the dog, who could say Sausages? The A-side was bad, but not as bad as the B-side, Paul's own winsome composition, We've Got a Dog. Unfortunately, according to Paul's nephew Anthony, writing on www.sheffieldforum.co.uk, Prince died by accidentally falling down a hole during house renovations.
Golly gosh.
Nearly time to go. Guess the celebrity, born the 22nd of February 1950. It was Julie Mary Walters. And what 1977 number 3 hit contained the line, "Giddy up and get away, we're going crazy and we're going today"? It was Status Quo, rocking all over the world. That's all we have time for in this edition of the Shorter Than Short podcast show. From me, Mike Kelly, take care. And remember, you can always find the podcast by searching or shouting Mike DJ Kelly Podcast.
This is the Mike Kelly Podcast.
Mike Kelly.